Goeiedag en baie welkom by Juffrou MarX se virtuele klaskamer. Finally, Earthday has arrived. I hope you're wearing your dash of green to celebrate Earthday wherever you are in lockdown. I'm reminded again of this quote by Anne Frank. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. You can play your part in combating climate change simply by recycling paper and plastic. Here's some more Earth Day jokes that you can share with your family and friends to raise awareness. What happens when it rains cats and dogs? You have to be careful not to step in a poodle. What's the biggest moth in the world? A mammoth. How do you cut a wave in half? You use a seesaw. I've included links to some amazing videos about climate change, Earth Day and pollution in the description box below. Be sure to check it out and share it with your friends or family. I just told you that you can play your part in recycling plastic, and this is exactly what I refer to. The Sweethearts Wheelchair Foundation needs our help to provide people with wheelchairs that can't afford them otherwise. Simply collect bottle tops and bread tags, bring it to school, and the Sweethearts Wheelchair Foundation will recycle it and use the money. Why don't you ask all your friends and your family to do exactly the same? Tomorrow we are celebrating World Book Day. Why don't we celebrate World Book Day tomorrow by reading a story? If you don't have access to a storybook right now, why not go to the Nali'Bali website where you can find hundreds of stories? Why don't you get creative and dress up like a character from one of the books you've read? I'm sure that you can come up with some very creative costumes by using what you have at home right now. Well, without further ado, let's look at today's work. Vandag is Woensdag. Today is Wednesday, aka Earth Day, the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Die datum is 22 April 2020. The date is the 22nd of April 2020. Hoe lyk die weer buitekant jou venster? What is the weather like outside? Ons is tans in herfs. We are currently in autumn. Kom ons loer na vandag se spelwoorde. Hierdie spelwoorde gaan ook oor herwinning. Let's look at today's spelling words. These spelling words also center around the topic of recycling, just like yesterday's spelling words. Fabriek, factory, wêreld, world, gebruik, use, spaar, save, plastic, plastic, brandstof, fuel, klimaat, climate, weer, weather, or it can mean again. Plakkaat, poster, besoedeling, pollution. Why not get creative and design your very own poster about Earth Day or about climate change, about pollution, about recycling in order to raise awareness? I would love to see these posters once we're back at school. Why don't you do it in Afrikaans? Well, I supplied you with so many new words that you could easily do it in Afrikaans. I very much look forward to seeing these posters. Onthou om 'n sinnetjie met elke spelwoord in jou boek te maak. Remember to use these 10 spelling words in sentences in your book. Onthou ook om elke spelwoord in jou persoonlike woordeboek te skryf. Remember to write each spelling word in your personal dictionary. Let's use the example of pollution, besoedeling. Step 1, go to the P tab, P for pollution, in your personal dictionary. Step 2, write the word pollution and next to it the Afrikaans meaning besoedeling. Step 3, it will look like this. First the English word pollution and next to it the Afrikaans besoedeling. This term's oral is unprepared. You'll receive a list and you can choose a topic from the list. You will have 3 minutes to prepare and then to speak unprepared about the topic you chose. I give you a daily oral topic so that you can start practicing at home to speak about a certain topic. If you realize that you can't say anything in Afrikaans about this topic, grab a dictionary, start writing down some ideas and practice your oral skills. Kom ons kyk na vandag se onderwerp. Die onderwerp is: wat kan jy doen om die omgewing te red? Today's topic is what can you do to save our environment? Kom ons loer weer na trappe van vergelyking. Trappe van vergelyking is degrees of comparison. Let's look at a couple of examples. Jonk, jonger en jongste. Groot, groter, grootste. Koud, kouer, koudste. Hard, harder, hardste. Swaar, swaarder, swaarste. Vinnig, vinniger, vinnigste. Hier is die trappe van vergelyking waarna ons nou net gekyk het. Here are the degrees of comparison we just looked at, but in a table format. It's easy to spot the pattern. When we put a word in die vergrotende trap, or the comparative, we add a er. And when we put the word in the oortreffende trap, in the superlative, it gets a ste. But I also told you to look out for spelling. Sometimes words spelling changes when you put that word into the degrees of comparison. We also looked at the following 4 words. Ons het ook na hierdie 4 woorde gekyk. Lui, lazy, luier en luiste. Wild, wild, wilder en wildste. Flux, which is being diligent, fluxer en fluxste. En stadig, slow, is stadiger en stadigste. Hier is die antwoorde vir gister se trappe van vergelyking. Om hierdie 4 woorde in die vergrotende en oortreffende trap te skryf, het ons net die reël gevolg. Rooi, red, rooier en rooiste. Vars, fresh, varser en varste. Warm, warm, warmer en warmste. Mooi, mooier en mooiste. Dit was sommer baie maklik. Jy moes net die reëls volg. This was so easy. You just had to follow the rules. Kom ons loer na sinne met trappe van vergelyking. Let's look at sentences that contain degrees of comparison. I wonder if you can pick up on 2 clues in each sentence that tells us in which degree to place the word. In hierdie sin is daar 2 woordjies wat ons help om vinnig in die trappe van vergelyking te skryf. Ek wonder of jy daai 2 woordjies kan raak sien. Nommer 1. Usain Bolt is vinnig, fast. Maar 'n jagluiperd is selfs vinnig as hy. 'n Sportmotor is die vinnig. Nou, as jy dink jy weet wat die antwoorde is, skryf dit gou neer. And if you think you know what the answers are, write it down now. Kom ons kyk na die antwoorde. Usain Bolt is vinnig, maar 'n jagluiperd is selfs vinniger as hy. En 'n sportmotor is die vinnigste. Ek hoop dat jy die antwoorde reg het. Kom ons kyk na nog 'n sinnetjie. Nommer 2. 'n Skilpad is baie stadig, slow as 'n slang. 'n Slak is beslis die stadig. Goed, skilpad is a tortoise, slang is a snake, en 'n slak is a snail. Just for reference. Skryf nou jou antwoorde neer. Kom ons kyk na die antwoorde. 'n Skilpad is baie stadiger as 'n slang. 'n Slak is beslis die stadigste. Could you identify the 2 small words in each sentence that indicates to us in which degree to place the word? Well, let's see if you are correct. Onthou, remember, die woordjie as dui aan dat ons die woord in die vergrotende trap moet skryf. The word as indicates to us that we need to place the word in the comparative. Die wys vir ons dat ons die woord in die oortreffende trap moet skryf. Die woord die indicates to us that we need to place the word in the superlative. Keeping this in mind will certainly simplify doing trappe van vergelyking. Op 'n ligter noot. Remember how we joked in class about the direct translation of certain Afrikaans words? For example, a see koei, a hippopotamus. See is sea and a koei is a cow. A sea cow, but it seems they found an actual sea cow. Hier is 'n idioom met 'n interessante letterlike vertaling. Here's an idiom with a very interesting literal translation. Katjie van die baan, literally translated means kitten off the track. You use katjie van die baan to describe an outgoing and fun person at an event. Kom ons kyk weer na Stompie. Onthou, Stompie is jou beste Afrikaanse maatjie. Kan jy nog onthou wat Stompie is? Stompie is 'n akroniem wat ons help om woordorde in Afrikaans te onthou. Stompie is an acronym that reminds us of the word order in Afrikaans. Stompie also helps us to put sentences correctly in the past tense. Now, I did share this very good news with you previously, but I'm going to go through it one more time. There's some very good news about past tense sentences in Afrikaans. Are you learning endless lists of English past tense verbs? And you guys know exactly what I'm referring to. Afrikaans has no past tense verbs whatsoever, right? Then how do we put a sentence in the past tense? Well, there's just 2 steps. Let's quickly revise them. Step 1, you add ge to verb 1, and then move verb 1 to verb 2's place. Well, all along, verb 2's place has been empty because we've been dealing with present tense sentences. Then, in the place of verb 1 that's now empty, place the word het. Alright, well, let's look at an example. Die seun skop die sokkerbal. Our basic sentence with a subject, a verb, and an object. The sentence is also in the present tense. Now, step 1. Add ge to skop. Skop is verb 1. So it becomes geskop. But the sentence now reads, die seun geskop die sokkerbal. And that's definitely not correct. We need the next step. Step 2 is to move verb 2 all the way to the back. But step 3, we can't leave verb 1 empty. So we put in the word het. And that's as easy as it gets. So, just to recap, here is a basic sentence in the past tense. It's got the subject, verb 1, object, verb 2. Die seun het die sokkerbal geskop. We've successfully placed this sentence in the past tense. And remember, there's also many other components that we can add to the sentence. For example, a time word, the manner in which the action takes place, the place where it takes place. So there's much more that we can add to a sentence. Hier is voorbeelde van verlede tyd woorde. Here are examples of past tense time words that will assist you in placing words in the past tense. Gister, yesterday. Eergister, the day before last. Verlede week, maand of jaar, last week. Last month, last year. Onlangs, recently, and the list continues. Ek het gister vir jou aktiwiteit 15 gegee om te doen. Die komponente van elke sin was geskommel. Yesterday I asked you to unscramble the components of a sentence by putting in the correct order using Stompie. Let's look at the answers. Kom ons kyk na die antwoorde. I gave you the following. Verlede jaar, sokker, het, by die skool, gespeel, te Nash. Step 1 is always to identify each component of the sentence. Verlede jaar means last year, definitely our time component. Sokker, the object, het, verb 1, by die skool, the place, gespeel, verb 2, and te Nash, the subject. This is what it looks like. Te Nash het verlede jaar sokker by die skool gespeel. This sentence does not have the manner in which te Nash played soccer at the school last year. Ek hoop dat jy hierdie sinnetjie reg gekry het. Hier is die tweede sinnetjie. Het 'n mooi briefie let toe, geskryf, in haar kamer, eergister. Step 1 is always to identify each component of this scrambled sentence. Het tells me immediately that it's a past tense sentence. Het would therefore be verb 1. A mooi briefie, definitely our object, let to the subject. Geskryf is a past tense verb, so we know it has to be at verb 2. In haar kamer is the place component en eergister, day before last, is the time component. Hier is die antwoord, here's the answer. Let toe, het eergister 'n mooi briefie in haar kamer geskryf. As easy as saying stompie. Hier is die laaste sinnetjie. Here's the last sentence I gave you. Het in die eerste termyn gedoen, Ipeleng, haar huiswerk by die huis. Step 1 is always to identify each component. Het tells me that we are dealing with past tense. Het is therefore verb 1. In die eerste termyn is the time component in the first term. Gedoen, because doen has the ge, we know it's a past tense verb and therefore it has to go to verb 2. Ipeleng is the subject of the sentence, haar huiswerk is the object, en by die huis is the place component. All that's left is to unscramble it using stompie. Hier is die antwoord, here's the answer. Ipeleng het in die eerste termyn haar huiswerk by die huis gedoen. As easy as saying stompie. Probeer nou weer self om elke komponent van die sinnetjies in die regte volgorde te skryf. Try again to write each component of each sentence in the correct order using your best friend stompie. Ons het aan die einde van vandag se lesie gekom. We've come to the end of today's lesson. Ek hoop dat jy iets nuuts geleer het. I hope that you learned something new. Don't forget to celebrate Earthday for the rest of today. Let's make every day an Earth Day.